guys, what is going on? Blossom is back and welcome back to another episode of Untitled Drives. Now in yesterday's video, I debuted my new intro, so let me know what you think about that down in the comments below. And the fun fact is, there are actually 3 different versions of that intro. I haven't really decided which one I'm gonna go with yet because they're all absolutely fantastic. If you want to know who made the intro, obviously I didn't do it. That was too good for me to make. Okay, if you want to know who made it, I'll have a link to the description below to his channel as well, and he's always in my YouTube community tab as well, under I think friends that make YouTube videos, whatever I name the list. But anyway, I have different iterations of the intro and I'll be playing them throughout the next couple of days for the next couple of videos. But today's video we're going to be reviewing the 2013 Peak Performance Pack, which is the pack that you need to open for the time trial series that's going on. Now, as you've already seen, I've already finished a challenge. You saw my 3x epic pack, and yeah, it wasn't good at all. Like, it was 3 epic fuse material, but it's quite funny because someone in my Discord server shared a pack, and in that pack was I think a Mazda Furai, a 79 Subi, and a Mercedes SLS convertible, something like that, SLS Roadster. And I thought about that and I was like, wow, I'd actually rather take the pack that I had over the Furai and the SLS Roadster. And here's why. I'm looking for very specific epics right now. I want American epics that I do not have, namely the Raptor and the Viper. So if I got a car like the Furai and the SLS, I know that they're really good, so I won't be able to fuse them. And if I do, it would really hurt. So I wouldn't fuse them, but at the same time, knowing how frugal I am with my fuse material, I'm not gonna max them out as well. So if I did get like really good epics that aren't in my niche, then they just end up sitting there. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna fuse them, I'm not gonna max them. It's a waste of space. Unlike, you know, if I got 3 fuse material epics as I did, that would be easy fuse. Like, that is a legendary fuse right there. Thank you very much. I don't care about the Nassau or the Caterham because that Caterham's a dupe. The Reese Caterham's a dupe. So the first one I'm gonna keep. What was the last card that I got? It was a Spiker. So yeah, all those are going away. The best case scenario though was if I was gonna get like an epic I was really looking for, but that is a really like, it would either have to be like a dupe Blossom choice, like an M3 CS, or maybe a Nissan Bluebird, or obviously the American epics I'm looking for. So with that being said though, I'm going to talk about the 2013 Peak Performance Pack, basically all 2013 cars that are either standard tires or performance tires. I'm kind of sad that this requirement is being utilized for this time trial series, because this is a requirement that I've really been hoping to be a final requirement for an actual tri series. Why? Well, as you can see, I have 2 of the Vipers Max. I also own the Jaguar, I own the Porsche, and I have an upgrade in that as well. I have 2 upgrades in the Porsche 911 Turbo. I also have the Caterham 620R. I also have the Arium 3.5. I have all of the epics, and I have the Astons Max. These 2 Astons are max. I have the Juice maxed. I have the BMW just sitting there. Actually, the Disco Velante and the Jag I do not have, but I have everything else. So I was really hoping that this was going to be a final tri-series requirement, because I was going to do really well in that. Oh yeah, not to mention I also have the BMW and the Audi. But you know what? Whatever. At least I got the time trial series. So obviously you guys know how it works. Dick Kaiser, Daily Driver, Frequent Provider, Pernicious, Ulcer, and Hot Garbage. So let's get into it. Now I'm going to be rating these cars in a general sense, obviously, so multiplayer, club, single player, etc, because when it comes to the time trial series, I think you saw that I used basically every single ultra besides the Chrysler, which is the one that I got like 3 times, I think, from 2 of the ceramic packs and 1 from the carbon fiber. I used the Volvo I think once or twice. But the Ultras I used the most in the challenge were actually the Volkswagen and the Peugeot, especially the Peugeot. That being said though, you know, they're not very good cars. So we're gonna start with the Volkswagen, hot garbage. It's got high top speed, but you know, MRI is, to be fair, the MRI of the Volkswagen is okay for a front wheel drive hatchback. 77.5, yeah, that's alright, but the 0 to 60 is garbage. The handling is also garbage. I mean, when you compare it to the Peugeot, now I get it, it's 3RQ more, it's also medium ground clearance, got a lower 0 to 60, better handling, also no MRI though, 69.26, so the Volkswagen has better MRI, but they're both medium. The Peugeot has a lower 0 to 60, not higher top, well yeah, actually does have a higher top speed and higher handling as well, and it's also medium ground clearance, which is something that I always forget. So is the Peugeot RCZ a frequent provider? I would say that it's a frequent provider if you take into account this time trial series challenge, but how heavily do you want to, you know, weigh this time trial series challenge? It's a one and done. Unlike multiplayer events, they're always going to keep coming. Now, let me think of Peugeot real quick. There are a couple medium ground clearance Peugeots out there. So I don't know. I think the kidney car, just because it handles a little better, it's a tough one. It's got no MRA. I'm going to put it in pernicious ulcer, but it might be a pretty high pernicious ulcer. The next one is the Chrysler 300C. This one's an interesting one as well because it's got a really low 0 to 60 for a medium ground clearance car that also has standard tires. I mean, it's 5.3. That is almost a second faster compared to the Volkswagen for only 5 IQ more. And they kind of run in different niches. So I really shouldn't be comparing them, but usually when it comes to top drives, cars with standard tires should have like lower 0 to 60s than cars with performance tires, right? But this one isn't the case. The Chrysler 300C has an insane 0 to 60 at 5.3 seconds. Handling isn't too bad as well, but it is falling under one of the most useless niches in the game, which is rear wheel drive standard tires. So because of that, the best I can give it is pernicious ulcer. That being said though, do I rate the Peugeot more than the Chrysler? I do, so I'm really thinking if I should move the Peugeot up later. The Volvo 71 MRA 4-wheel drive, very heavy, coming in at 1,756 kilograms. Now I should also mention that the Chrysler 300C is incredibly heavy at 1,969 kilograms. 5.5 0 to 60, 77 handling. I mean, honestly, this thing is hot garbage, to be honest. Like, I know I use it quite a bit throughout the US/Swedish challenge, but that was because it was one of like 3 ultra rares that you could use for, you know, Volvo, because we're talking about performance tire Volvos, and it was Palom, which is the red one, or I don't know what the model name is, and like the RQ52 or whatever. So this one just had the lower 0 to 60, but honestly, like I said, you know, although it's a car that was used in that situation, hot garbage cars are in situations where, you know, the fucking, why did I swear? I have to censor that. I don't know why. I think that challenge still pisses me off, man. You know, Time Trial Series 2. But really, like, the requirements really have to be skewed towards a car's favor to really make it somewhat useful. And even then, I really only used this Volvo once or twice in that entire Time Trial Series 2 challenge. So, very niche situations, only used it twice. You couldn't finish the challenge without it, but you needed it, but you only really needed it like 2 and 3 races. So honestly, hot garbage in my opinion. Next up is the Rapide Bertone Jet. Now this car, much like the Peugeot, I always forget that the Peugeot is medium. I always forget that the Bertone Jet is actually an estate. That being said, it's got decent on-paper stats for an IQ61. It's got a high top speed paired with traction control and ABS, but every Ultra right here has traction control and ABS. Decent 0 to 60, decent handling. It's a bit of a, you know, jack of all trades kind of car with 73 MRA to boot, which isn't very high to be honest, but it kind of hits the spot in just the right places. Not good enough to be daily driver or above, but I would say it's a frequent provider. Also, on top of that, it has that estate niche. And that's it for ultra rares. Only 5 you can get from the pack. Now we move on to epics. Now the first one is going to be the Disco Velante. I actually want this car. I'm going to put it under daily driver because it is, you know, a really high MRA car coming in at 89.73. It handles really well as well at 87 and has a decent 0 to 60 of 4 seconds and a high top speed of 181. So when you pair high top speed and high MRA, you actually get yourself a pretty decent car, and it handles really well as well. The Aston Martin Vanquish Velante is a little different though. Now this is an interesting one, how I'm gonna rank this, because the Vanquish Velante is actually a better car to the Disco Velante. The Vanquish Velante has a lower 0 to 60. It has just 1 less MRA, so the Alpha has 89, the Vanquish is 88, and the Vanquish has a way higher top speed as well, 197 compared to 181. Handles less though. So why am I rating the Vanquish lower than the Alfa Romeo Disco Velante? Well, the Alfa Romeo Disco Velante is one of the best within the Alfa Romeo epics. That being said, the Aston Martin Vanquish Velante is going to constantly and always be in the shadow of the CC100. The CC100 is just a better option. I know it's more expensive to use, but you would try your best to try and make the CC100 fit. That is because it has 11 more MRA, 99 compared to the Vanquish Velante's 88. It's got a, you know, not the lower 0 to 60, but 3.9 to 3.8, and it handles better as well, 88 compared to the Vanquish Velante's 86. Now the Vanquish Velante is going to be the better testable car just because it has a higher top speed, but in every other situation, drag or twisty, the CC100 is going to be the car that you need to use. Another bigger problem for the Vanquish Velante is that its direct competitor is the same brand, the same year, and the same niche. They're both roadsters slash convertibles. You know what I mean? I always get them mixed up, okay? Like, I know the CC100 is a roadster. Is the Vanquish Velante a roadster or a convertible? God knows, man. But anyway, moving on now now is going to be the Audi. The Audi RS6. That is an interesting one, right? Is it going to be Der Kaiser? I don't know. When it was medium back in the day, yeah, it'd be Der Kaiser. Now I'd say maybe daily driver, but a very high daily driver because it still has the MRA. 95.35 for an estate. Also has four-wheel drive. It's got a high top speed, traction control, ABS, low 0 to 60. The main thing that weighs this thing down is not only the RQ, 86 RQ, but also AT4 handling. If your handling is lower than your RQ when it comes to a high-end car, we got a problem here, especially if it has performance tires. We don't count this rule for all, standard or off-road or, all surface. But if it's a performance tire car, like if your handling is lower than your RQ, especially for anything 80 plus, we got a problem, buddy. Alright, moving on now is going to be the BMW 750D Xdrive, and this one's going to be a daily driver as well. This is a car which I always thought was a little bit underwhelming, but, when I look at the car, I look at my own, because I have one max, and I realize, wow, it's got like a 89% win ratio, and I've raced it like 5,000 times. It's one of those, like, that's a real sleeper, if anything. Like, you use it a lot, and you don't even know that you use it a lot. And you don't even know that it wins as much as it actually does. So the stats don't lie about mine. The BMW 750D Xdrive, it's got a low 0 to 60, but it doesn't have the MRA to back it up. It doesn't have the top speed to back it up either. But I guess the standard tires, the four-wheel drive, the handling isn't even very good. Like, this is a very strange one. The 750D Xdrive, I questioned it for a long time on whether it should be 79 or not. I still kind of do. But somehow it just gets the job done. And like I said, the stats on my BMW doesn't lie. It's got an incredible win ratio, and I've raced it thousands and thousands of times, so I'm gonna put in daily driver based off that alone. Moving on now is the BMW M6 Grand Coupe. Now the BMW M6 Grand Coupe, it leaves little to be desired. A jack of all trades kind of car, I would say, but the handling is very, very, very sad. This is an outdated picture, 82 handling. It has 85 handling now, paired that with 82 MRA. But at the end of the day, it really isn't a car that you're going to use very often. I think it's a four-seater, so it competes with a lot of the Porsches, which just handle better than this as well, with similar MRA. So really, I wouldn't put this anywhere. It's also this RQ70 in the picture. It's 73 now. The pictures here from Top Drives Club is just all outdated. Moving on is the Cadillac Almirage. The Almirage has amazing MRA, 92.2, and has medium ground clearance. So the 80 handling kind of makes sense because it has medium ground clearance and the MRA to boot because it's an Epic. The 0 to 60 is also like relatively okay, and the top speed is higher than the average of 155. That being said though, I'm not going to give it anything higher than Pernicious Ulcer. I really never use this thing. It really isn't my go-to dragster in any case, even in American situations. It is a medium ground clearance car, but it really just isn't a car that I use too often. I've used it many times already. It used to be an ultra rare, by the way. If I got it as an ultra rare, yeah, I'd keep like 5, 10, 20, but when it goes up to Epic, just really isn't up the pecking list for me. Moving on is the Charger Juice. The Charger Juice is also going to go under frequent provider. Actually, should I put it under frequent provider? I'm going to bump it up to daily driver, okay? Because, like, I know that I was initially going to put it in frequent provider because it kind of serves the same disabilities as the Vanquish Velante, as in, like, it's a good car, but, like, there are, competitors within its own manufacturer and country and niche, which is saloon, that are just so much better, The Charger Juice has to compete with the Hellcats. It's nothing against the Hellcats, the Challengers, or the Chargers. Why I move it up to daily driver, though, is because it's American Frontier, so the Hellcats can't play. So for American Frontier drag events, then the Charger Juice is going to be a really good car if you have this or the prize car for GT40. So the main reason why is because this kind of operates in a different, I guess, category at least, and it's a pretty big one, American Dream versus American Frontier, unlike the two Aston Martins, which are both great exhibition. That being said though, the Charger Juice is still a really strong car, 92.5 MRA, 3.70 to 60, and 195 top speed stock. Last but not least is going to be the Jaguar Xgr, and once again, the best I'm going to give it is Pernicious Ulcer. It has some niches to it, the medium ground clearance. It's got a relatively low 0 to 60. 78 MRI isn't strong, but it isn't completely weak as well. Also, it's a saloon, a decent car to use in the medium. That being said, you'd just rather use the Jaguar 575, or if you have it, the Aerial Nomad. So because of that, and it's really only a car that you're going to use in city street situations. So because of that, I'm going to give it Pernicious Ulcer. And then the last epic is going to go to the Roof. The Roof 3800S. I don't know where to put this, to be honest. Maybe a very high frequent provider. It's a jack of all trades kind of car. If anything, maybe I should even put it with the Alfa Romeo Disco Velante. It's a convertible. It's got really good handling. It's got a low 0 to 60, and it's got a high top speed. The MRA isn't the strongest thing in the world. The Alfa has an 89, but the roof has an 83. And honestly, I can't even compare it to other roofs because all roofs have their MRA nerfed already. So the Roof 3800S is the best handling epic roof out there. So maybe that should just be enough to nudge it up just to a very low daily driver. Let me know if you agree or disagree with the roof's decision. Now we move on to the legendaries. Now let's get the bad legendaries out of the way first, and that is going to be these three over here: the Ariel, the Mercedes, and the Audi R8. Now it's going to be pretty cruel, to be honest, but I'm going to put them all in pernicious ulcer. I might even move, I don't know, man. The AMG SLS Electric might even be hot garbage. It's got no handling. The MR is 87, but it's got no top speed. A legendary with 155 miles per hour for its top speed is destined for disaster. So, I don't know. It also has the same 0 to 60 as a Hellcat. Lower, worse MRA, and it's gonna lose to a Hellcat basically on any drags, okay? I know it has 4-wheel drive, and this thing is also ridiculously heavy, weighing over 2 tons. I really want to put the AMG SLS as hot garbage, but I think that's too mean. They're all pernicious ulcer. I'm gonna give it that, okay? The Caterham, now this one's gonna be Der Kaiser. It's kind of shocking to see that there are not a lot of Der Kaisers yet. Der Kaiser for sure. It's incredibly light, 572 kilograms. It is a better version of the Superlight. As long as you don't put it on the slalom, it'll get the job done. And then we have the Vipers. Okay, so Dodge Srt Viper. Where am I gonna put this? I would say frequent provider. It's got 93 MRA. It's capable of hitting 100 handling, which is really, really good. But when it comes to American epics, especially in Dodge events, like take this from a Dodge collector. I never use Bollywood anymore. It's sad, but I really never ever use Bollywood anymore. I know it's like, honestly, my Srt Viper, I have it max. I use it as an epic killer almost. When it comes to drags, I'd rather use the epic Hellcats. When it comes to twisty stuff, to be completely honest, like I would rather just save a little bit of RQ and not use Bollywood and maybe use a Mustang GT4, which actually has 4 more handling than the Viper. So I would give it freaking provider at best. I freaking love the car, don't get me wrong, I love it. It's just that I gotta be factual and unbiased in these kind of videos, even though some people still think I am biased, but I'm really not. Next up is Syracuse. Syracuse is gonna be Der Kaiser. I mean, like, there's nothing to fault it by. 102 handling when you max it out, but 92 stock is also still really good. 3.30 to 60 is low. It's got a high top speed, paired that with 91 MRA as well. It's what you expect from an RQ86 legendary. I use it very, very often. Now we have the Jaguar CX75. This is overrated. I'm sorry, it's overrated. I'm giving it a daily driver. I know it has 108 MRA. I get that, okay? I know it has a high top speed, but for 98 RQ, it's so overrated. I'm sorry, it genuinely is overrated. 98 RQ, you're putting this in the same place of a Bugatti Veyron. It's gonna lose to the Bugatti Veyron everywhere, even in the twisty stuff. I don't know what to say, man. The Jaguar CX75 has to go down. Has to go down to 97 and 96. When it does, then I'll put it up to Der Kaiser. It's got to walk the walk and talk the talk, but unfortunately, it's not really representing its RQ right now at 98. I know it's 97 in the picture. I'll date it once again. It's 98 in game. And then we have the Mercedes. Now this one's a bit of a shock. Can someone please confirm this with me down in the comments below? Because according to Top Drives Club, the Mercedes AMG SLS Black Series has 89 MRA. Can someone please confirm that with me? Because I don't own one, so I can't test it myself. Wyatt, maybe if you're watching, because for the longest time, I thought that the AMG SLS Black Series had 100 MRA. Seriously, I legit thought it had 100 MRA. Maybe I'm getting it mixed up with another legendary SLS because there are a couple of them. But yeah, I literally thought that it has 100 MRA. That being said, though, the fact that it only has 89 actually kind of makes it kind of underwhelming. When you think about it, compare that to the Viper. It's got this. Well, the Viper is better MRA. The Viper is 93 compared to the Mercedes' 89. Now the 0 to 60 is a pretty big difference, though, 3.5 to 3.2. But the Viper handles even better and it has a higher top speed. So if anything, the Viper is actually going to beat the Mercedes SLS on the testable, which is a bit of a shame because when you think of the SLS Black Series, all you think about is like it's a German Hellcat. It feels like a German Hellcat, you know. But yeah, I would give it freaking provider at best. That being said, though, it is one of those legendaries that I've been trying to get since the beginning of the game, so I would love to get one, please. Next is going to be the Nissan Gtr. I feel like I'm being extra savage today with my legendary rankings because I only have 1 legendary in Der Kaiser so far. I have 3 in Pernicious Ulcer, and I have 3 in frequent provider. I don't know. I feel like I'm being like extra savage. should I move everything up by one? I mean, the Jag's gonna stay where it is, but should I move like these 3 legends up to daily and these 3 legends up to frequent provider, or am I just gonna be really savage today? I feel really savage today. I'm gonna just keep it like this, because let's be honest. These 3 legends, right? The Mercedes, the Audi, the Ariel. Never use it. I mean, this Ariel Atom, I've had this thing for 3 years in my garage. I think I've only used it like 5 times, so that speaks for itself. But yeah, the GTR, man, it's got a really low 0 to 60. Handling is quite weak though for an RQ90. Once again, if you got less handling than your RQ for a legendary, we got a problem here, buddy. And that being said, 68 MRA. Yikes. Yikes. I do feel quite bad putting it in frequent provider though, because when I think of the JPT GTRs that were introduced in the game, the 2013 GTR is still better than a lot of them. So because of that, I'll just put it up in daily driver. But it ain't a good legendary, bro. Then we have the Porsche 911 GT3. Now this one surprised me. I always thought that the SLS had more MRA than the 911 GT3. That isn't the case. The 911 GT3 actually has 92 MRA compared to the SLS Black Series 89. At least according to Top Drive's club. And that being said, the 911, same RQ as the Mercedes, has the same top speed and way better handling. I know it's, 3 more handling, but you get, 0.2 seconds lower 0 to 60 in the Mercedes. But that being said, I'd rather choose the 911 every day. That is a bang for your bargain. I really want that. The 911 GT3, 92 MRA, 92 handling, 3.4 0 to 60, 196 top speed. It's a light car as well, lighter than the Mercedes, coming in at 1,430 kilograms, all for 85 RQ. That's really good. Seriously, really want that 911 in my garage. And then we have the 911 Turbo as well. Now this one's actually okay. It's got no MRA once again. I mean, 76 is kind of yikes, but 3.20 to 60, although it's not like really low, the 90 handling kind of saves it over here. I don't know though. Should I even put it in Der Kaiser? This was the best Porsche at one point. It used to be like RQ30. It used to be like the best like non-prize Porsche at one point. Only behind the 918, which is crazy. This one too. You know what? I'm gonna keep the Turbo S in Der Kaiser. It's got the lower 0 to 60, 2.6 compared to 3.2 is insane. Handling's the same and top speed is a little higher. But the MRA of the 911 Turbo S honestly makes no sense at all. 68.92. I know that it actually has horrible MRA in the game. I'm just saying that Hutch has their stats wrong. No way you're telling me a 911 Turbo S has an MRA of 69.92. That's really sad. That being said though, I think I'm going to move the 911 down, Turbo down to daily driver, and then I'll leave the Turbo S up in Der Kaiser. So that's going to be it. I don't know. I would say that these are like extra savage judgments today. The legendaries, man. I don't know how I feel about them. They feel right, but they feel wrong at the same time. It's just that those legendaries, the Audi, the Mercedes, it's some of the worst in the game. The SLS Black Series and the Srt Viper aren't as good as you think they are. And the GTR, I think I'm being generous to put the GTR in daily driver. Let me know down in the comments below where you'd put the GTR. But honestly, it's still a pretty decent pack. I mean, anything daily driver and above, I'd be happy to get. Frequent provider, I mean, I'd be really happy to get a Bollywood, even though it's not that good of a legendary because I'm a Dodge collector. And the SLS Black Series, I love Mercedes, so once again, I don't mind it. But anyway, guys, that's gonna be it. That is my judgment of the 2013 Peak Performance Pack. Should you open it? It's not bad. I wouldn't say it's that bad at all, but there are definitely better packs out there, but I would say it's on like the upper 50%, if that makes sense. Like it's on the better scale than the worst scale, you know what I mean? But anyway, guys, should you open it? I mean, if you're looking for any of these cars, go for it. If you want to get that triple epic pack, go for it. But if you want to just save gold and wait for the new update, I just do that. We probably have about 6 more months till the next update anyway. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. We're gonna stay safe, wash your heads, and blossom out. Peace.
Bro, this song just makes me so happy.
Me too.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies. They so fine. Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies. They so fine. Sit back, relax in my Bonneville Pontiac. Hold tight all night, cruise to Jacksonville Atlantic. Blonde hair, don't care, look like Leslie Brooks. Pin up girls everywhere with the drop that look. Swing it side to side as we slow dance to the night. When I'll hold your perfect hand and take you out just for a ride. We'll share milkshakes at the diner and rebel at every hour. We can watch a drive-in movie, then have romance in the shower. Sleek my hair, light a lucky cig, lucky strike. Have a bowl at the bowling rig, lucky strike. Get some Elvis, play that J-House rock, jazzy. Spread the groove all around the block, jazzy. Boy, it must be good to be living in the 50s. A time just past the war and just before the hippies. Imagine being rich with just a single dollar. Cars were meant for charming and girls were called my darling. Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket looking sleek,